And we're back. Okay, round two with we were working on recursion, and Jean again. Thank you. That was an awesome. I learned a lot, and especially because I knew it was simple. You know, it wasn't overly complex yet. I hadn't put my finger exactly on like doing it. So your examples will really help. I think people understand one is the need and when you can use it, but two is how
It
to go
looks
through
more complex than it is in fact.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Did anybody have anything they want to share? Any questions to work on? Anything cool they've worked on lately that they want to share? Oh, Susan has something.
That's something.
You want to unmute yourself and share your screen, or is it you giving us a file? Okay. So Jean, I don't know if she can boot you or not. Oh, you did stop sharing. Sorry. Never mind. Yeah, I back to my URL one. At TI, I went into the room and my boss was like, "Hey, tomorrow you're going to be doing testing," and so I'm like, "Okay." So I go in this room. There's like 8 people there, and they're literally looking at each link on a page and like checking it and doing it manually. And like we have tons of pages to go over and all the stuff. And I'm like, you people are insane. Like, who would manually do this? Because how do you know that you actually got all of them and all the stuff? So that night I took about 4 hours and I wrote a script to get the URLs on the page and then go ping them with a HTTP call and return back if it's a 200, it's good. If it's a 400, it's not valid. And then I dumped it all into a spreadsheet, and it was just amazing. I mean, I added a lot more to it, but it blew everybody away. I think they still use it. You there, Susan?
Cool. Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Hi. Okay. How do I...
Just look on the toolbar. It looks like a greenhouse almost, like it's a box in the middle of the toolbar with a green arrow, something like that, to share, if that's what you were saying. I get the question a lot, so that's what I figured.
Yeah.
There's multiple Zoom windows, so if you don't see a toolbar at the bottom of the one you're looking at, look for a different Zoom window.
Okay, let's see. Maybe it's on this one.
Yeah, I've mentioned to them several times they should have that toolbar on every screen. It'd be so much easier.
And it's at the bottom of the screen?
Usually.
Let's see.
It's where you have like the mute and video and other buttons like that.
And you have to have the mouse over this window to see the toolbar. So use your mouse.
Okay, I see mute, invite,
Okay.
participants, chat, and leave meeting.
No share? It'd be in there.
Share.
See if there's a more. If your window is small, you might have to click more, and then it might be in there.
Let me try that, maybe.
Because when mine's small, it doesn't show all the buttons.
Okay, I did full screen and nothing new.
Are you logged in with the Zoom program or just from a browser?
When I was trying to log in through Zoom, it says if this does not work, log in through browser. That's what I did.
Okay, and I think it's when you're logged in from the browser, unfortunately, you can't share your screen.
Okay.
Bummer.
Well.
You can talk to us. You can explain it to us.
Okay, we'll try that. So this macro, I've been writing macros for less than a year, and I'm learning at a slow pace because I'm learning as I have time and finding what I need as I go. And this particular macro is for work. It is to try and put a timestamp on each item processed. And what I'm trying to do is put the timestamp into the spreadsheet. I didn't get a chance to try your what you sent me.
Com solution, yeah.
Yes. So I'm trying to figure out how to put the timestamp into the spreadsheet with a macro.
Well, and let me clarify that, because if I understand correctly, someone, or maybe it was you, I guess, wrote a macro inside Excel that when you hit, I think it was Control M, is that it?
Yes.
It would dump in the timestamp for you. So the macro is actually in VBA, is that correct?
I'm not sure. I was given a spreadsheet that has this little Control M in it.
Is it something you can send to me? Is it privileged?
I have an empty one that I can send.
Okay, why don't you do that, and then I can run it and share it, and you can, honestly, I can give you control on my computer, and you can run it, and we can all discuss it. But if it's embedded in Excel, then it should be a VBA script, and if you're interested, we could open it and look at it, because it's often very similar to AutoHotkey syntax, right? It's just some minor tweaks usually. It's not too complex. We won't do that live because who knows what else is in there, but we'll stick with just running the macro. You can test it and give us an example of it.
Okay, and the what was I going to say? Sorry, I'm trying to send this to you, and
I was going to say it's not as easy to talk and do stuff at the same time as you think, is it? When you're actually in front of a bunch of people, you're like, oh yeah.
Here we go. It runs with another program that I can't share. Like
sure.
I wouldn't be able to even if I could email it, but
yeah, I understand. Dale mentioned, by the way, Control Shift, and it looks like a semicolon, will put the data in. It sounds like it's a built-in Excel hot key or accelerator key or whatever you want to call it, which is cool. There's so many built-in hotkeys, right? It's amazing. Actually, I should show you guys the file I made like 20 years ago with some of the default hotkeys for Windows and for Office, because there's a lot that are in common. Boy, they're helpful.
So I've seen VBA macros. I've worked with them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't appear to be a VBA, but it must be if.
Okay, I got the spreadsheet. Let me share while it's opening. So is that the right spreadsheet? Just want to make sure.
Yes.
Okay, and then let me save your script. I gotta get it on my computer first.
And it's Control T that
oh, okay.
is the timestamp.
Sure, that would make a little more sense, wouldn't it? Darn it. I got too much stuff on my desktop. So. Alrighty. And so does it also, this is, by the way, so FYI, so this enable content, because it's a macro, I have to click this. This is one of the reasons why I like using COM outside of Excel, is I don't have to worry about people having macros disabled, this and that. I can have it in a script, and then it will automatically interact with it. It's not embedded in the spreadsheet, which sometimes gets caught in a virus stuff. Anyway, so does it detect what row you're in, or does it just dump it wherever it is?
It detects, well, it goes line by line, and I have the ability to press escape if I don't want to go any further.
Uh-huh. So if right here, if I hit Control T, and there it goes. And that's today. Cool. And so let's take a quick look here. So it's waiting for Excel to be active, right?
Yes.
I'm just surprised it's in a loop, but maybe I don't understand it yet. If it's not active, wait for it to be active. Okay. And then sleep, send home.
The loop may be, this was one of those where I took some code and changed it to my needs.
Uh-huh.
So the loop was there. I didn't put the loop there.
Okay.
And I think that's for it to keep going line by line, but I'm not positive.
Well, I guess I'm lost here because wait a minute, the Control T is inside Excel? Or is, no, it has to be. Not.
But, well, okay. Right now, I have to manually press Control T. I would like to put it into this macro.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking quite clearly is the process, because I got the macro, the actual Control T is in Excel, right? But it's this you want to trigger. And actually, you know, Jackie's better at this, or maybe someone else is. Another thing you could probably do, I'm not sure, because I've done stuff with AutoHotkey where I trigger Python code. I'm curious if you could have AutoHotkey actually trigger that macro instead of even sending the hotkey. It would just jump to that macro. I'm gonna pull this off screen real quick, and I'm gonna look. Alt F11. Oh, of course it opened on the other screen. I just want to make sure in the that there's nothing else that's in here that looks like it's. Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, it's not going to get any simpler than that. So let me bring this back. I hit Alt F11. It popped up with. I'm trying to get off of. Let me just close it. All right. So Alt F11, and I'll probably open on the other screen. Yeah. Opens up your VBA like things that you can do in it. Somewhere these modules. Well, this module, here's the sub macro one that they didn't give it a clear, definite name. Doesn't matter. But and this is where it says, hey, here's the active cell value, put in now, right? And that's the end. And then somewhere, which I'm trying to remember where it shows you. There's a hotkey assigned to it that says when you hit Control T. Oh, and they tell you it here. But somewhere we could go and look at all the macros, and it would show you Control T activates the macros. Run, debug, format. I'm trying to remember where it is. I don't mess with them too often anymore. But so that's all. That is the entire code for putting in that. You know, find the active cell, set the value equal to now. Right. So it's that straightforward, which is really cool. What I was alluding to earlier was, maybe what we could do is actually trigger this subroutine instead of trying to trigger a hotkey inside Excel to get to the subroutine. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes. Yes, that makes sense.
Apparently, I've lost my chat. Hold on a second, in case anybody. Yes, you could share those. I'm not sure what you mean by sharing the shortcuts. But cool. So anyway, so it's a very simple, and actually like this, again, we could convert this simplicity into AutoHotkey code in a heartbeat, where you don't have to have it in the Excel file. But let's not worry about that for the moment. So back to your script, you were basically sending Control T, right?
Yes.
So here I see Control C. Where's the?
Well, oh, I don't have that in there right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right.
It wasn't working. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
But that's what I was trying to do, and it wasn't working for me.
Gotcha. Let me see. Trying to remember where it was that I wrote the COM solution. But again, it honestly, let's just give it a try in this one. So.
Oh, I still have that.
Oh, you didn't just throw it away.
I keep everything.
Yeah, I hear you. Me too. So we actually, you know what? I have an Excel, so I'm going to throw in my include to my Excel library because I have a function library. Whoa. Oops. With Excel stuff. Oops, and it's just Excel. And I think it's Control R. So now I can quickly hop to here. So here's my example where I'm going to connect to the active window, the active Excel file. And so that's going to store a pointer. This XL is going to be the active spreadsheet. Okay. And then it's so easy. Let's go back because this is one thing I love about Excel compared to, thanks, Sean, for putting that file out there. I'll also include it in the email to everybody because I know some people had to go. And did you? Yeah. Anyway. And so let's go back in where I still have it open here. So this line here, right? I think it's almost exactly what'll go into the AutoHotkey code. So we'll start off with the pointer Excel dot, and then we'll say active cell dot value, and all we change is this to a semicolon equals instead of just colon equals, right? Now I'm going to save this. I'm going to launch it. Oh, it's calling. Why is the thing? Oh, because the now isn't a function. Oh, I need to put that. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, the now is an Excel thing, so it's not as easy. But let's just put this. Let's see if this worked. All right, and I'll run it. And let's go back and let's say I was in here and I hit my hotkey and see how it dumped in Joe. Right, so that would dump in whatever we say. Now all we need is does anyone know off the top of their heads like a now? Now the format isn't great, but this is what I put in that spreadsheet to you. So now we come back in here and hit it, and it puts in a crazy one because that's the full length and timestamp. So Control 1 in Excel brings up this format window, and let's change this to text. And let me try my hotkey again. So see the full length, that's 2019-03-19, and it's a full timestamp, right? So all we'd have to do is to put that in the format you want, right? And that's basically it, right? Is how does that still say now? Didn't I change that? Am I going crazy? How does that say now? Didn't it say Joe? It's the now. It's not. Yeah, it's not the Excel now. It's now. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I'm like, man, I'm losing it. Well, I see send input here. Thanks, Dale. I'm gonna just truncate it because I don't think you don't. Do you want the hour in time?
Yes, I need the hour.
Oh, okay.
Minute and seconds.
So this is what Dale just dumped in here. But it didn't. Do I have to wrap that in quotes? No, because it didn't like the colon. I think. There we go. And now we'll go back to Excel. You did not like that. I'm going to comment this out. Let's just see if it gets this right. Oh, it's got the back marks in there too. What do I need to? Should I be setting that as no? That's an expression. That's not going to work. and convert the var to just okay. Yeah, I don't use. I like doing it this way without all the percents. It just reads easier for me. There's no right and wrong way. There we go. So it needs some work, but you get the idea, right? That it'd be easy to adjust, and that's completely getting around the VBA and hitting control and whatever. But of course, you need to pull in, which is what I put in the email I sent you, is the actual this function, which so this is why I have it in here. It's actually these two functions here. So those, oops, wrong one. There we go. So those need to be somewhere in your script, right? Let me get rid of all this just so we can see it. And those get a handle to the active worksheet. There's 3 different levels. The one is like I forget them. I have a tutorial on it. One's the overall program, the second's the worksheet, and the third one is the workbook, I think, or maybe that's the wrong order, but something like that. Usually it's 1 that you want here. But that just says store, go get a connection to the active version of Excel and store it here. And that's why I then put in this Excel, and then I borrowed what we had in Excel and just adapted it, right? And that's again, that's why I love that. So let's actually, let's demonstrate real quickly here. So let's record. I made a button to it. So here we go. Is that it? No. I don't recognize those buttons at all, actually. I thought I made a button on my main toolbar for recording a macro. I swear I did, but I don't see it. So who remembers where it is in Excel? You get an extra cookie.
I would always find it in the developer tab.
In the developer tab. I don't have a developer tab.
They're on the right, macros.
Oh, way over here. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to hit record macro. And this is where I could give it a better name, right? Joe's macro. I hit OK. Stupid Office. Okay. And then now I can go do something. Let's bold the date. So I bolded it, right? And now there should be somewhere on my screen a stop. There it is. Stop button. And now I'm going to hit the Alt F11 again. I think the window's still open, but should bring it up. And I'm going to go to Module 2. Oh. Where'd it go? Here we go. So this, because I selected that specific cell, right? That's what it's saying is range is this. Select it, and then change the selection to font bold to equal true. And for AutoHotkey, we would just change this to like colon equals. And the true, by the way, the other thing is you can go here and say quick info on anything that's something that you're like, well, what in the world is that, right? That's not something that's a variable. You can look at, why is that not working? Oh, maybe because I shouldn't have done that. Or not. I don't know why that's not working. It should. You know what? This is, let me, I think someone mentioned earlier, but let me save it as a file. Excel can be finicky when you're not working with a file that's not actually, saved anywhere.
Yes.
And someone mentioned earlier, you have to save as a macro file. I don't actually want the macro in the file, but you're right. If you wanted to run as a macro, I just wanted to demonstrate writing one. Okay, so I've saved it now. Let's see if now this still doesn't like it. Weird. Normally, you can say quick info, and it would tell you this is equal to a 1, right? And so when you borrow it to Excel, you would change that to a 1. Yeah. I shouldn't be doing this in Excel. Let's come back over to here to AutoHotkey. I'm going to comment out that line. Yeah, Jean, you do have to, if you're going to run it. Are you saying? See, I don't normally. I do all this stuff without saving it as a macro file because I never use macros. And normally you can do that without doing it, but I'll test it. So I'm gonna paste this in here. Excel dot. Let's just do active cell, right? Active cell, and then instead of value, we're gonna set the font to bold. Right, so I'm going to save this and reload it. And now if I come back in here and hit my hotkey, it doesn't work, which is perfect. What I miss? Is it running? I don't think it's running. Oh, that's why. Yeah, because I have these functions on my library, so it doesn't like them. So there we go. Now let's try it again. So see, now I can just hit what I want, and of course this is a stupid example. My goal was to show you how easy it is to write something in Excel with the macro recorder, then look at the code and then adapt it to AutoHotkey, and then you don't have to do it. You don't have to have it as a macro file, which can be problematic. It just depends what you're doing. Plus you have to store it, which is it's a pain the first time you do it, but you have to find, if you want that macro available in every file, you can store it in your template folder, which years and years ago I used to do this, but it took me a while to get good at finding that global template file, saving your macros in there so they're available in all of your files, which is really helpful. Anyway, that's a quick, and we have a whole webinar on Excel with AutoHotkey. I got dozens, I think, of videos with Excel, but it's amazing how easy it is to do, and it's not very hard once you understand this overall concept of it's just like web scraping. You get a pointer to the file or whatever you're pointing at, trying to connect to, and then being able to navigate to that cell or whatever you want, and then putting in, setting up here we're setting the value, right? But there's a lot of different things you can do, and I have, which I've it's out there on my Excel page, the function library I have, which has a lot of things that you can do that you'd want to do in Excel and how to do them in AutoHotkey. So you don't have to learn how to write the code. You just got to learn how to use the function, right? It's already there. Did that help?
Yes.
Cool.
Very much so. Thank you.
Yeah, and it just takes practice, right? It's I used to work in Excel a lot, so I built up this library. But yeah, it's amazing the stuff you can do with Excel. Like you can go in, then I guess I closed it. But you can say like get the used range, and then find automatically identify the header row and jump to a blank line or whatever you want. It's super helpful for. I used to use this to quickly crank out macros, well, not macros, but AutoHotkey scripts that would automate my reporting or building of a pretty file, especially like, let's say you have a weekly report you have to run in Excel, and then you run it, but then your boss or the clients or whoever wanted a little, the header structured, formatting colors, and then every week you get the same file, and yet you have to go back and redo the same formatting. And so you can easily in AutoHotkey write a script that will go through and do everything you want. And then you just basically hit a button and it's done in like that. And it looks like you took a long time. And of course, the first time you do it, it did take you a while because it takes a while to set up. But after that, going forward, it's nothing, right? And man, it saves so much time.
That's what I love about AutoHotkey. Yes, it does take a minute to go through, write the code, troubleshoot.
Yeah, there's a learning curve, especially with COM, which when you're new to COM, using COM, and dot notation, I'm not gonna say a steep learning curve, but like for me, I had no background in programming, and so it took a while. But Excel is a great one compared to web pages. Excel is a great one to start with. I say, I see Jesus is from us too. Yeah. Again, my goal was demonstrating how to write a macro. It doesn't have to be an Excel SM file to write a macro. It's just if you want to keep the macro, you have to save it as one of those, right? But you can write a macro without it being one of those files. It's just when you go to save it, if you try to save as a normal one, it'll warn you saying, hey, if you save this as a normal file, you're going to lose your macro. You sure that's what you want to do? Or maybe I could have just read what John just read. Did anyone else have anything they want to share or something they worked on? Oh, Dale. Let's see it, man. Let me stop sharing. I assume you're going to share your desktop and talk, right? Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's time. Dale. Yeah, I'm fine hanging out for a while either way. So let's give Dale another 20 seconds here. Oh, here he comes. Awesome. And then Ahmed will get to you. Did you unmute yourself, Dale? Yeah, you did. Okay. I don't hear you though, if you're talking. Maybe you got to change your microphone. No pressure. I see you're unmuted, but often, Zoom will default to a different mic than your default mic, or actually, it won't be the one you think it is. Okay, Ahmed, we're going to jump to you. Dale, figure out what's going on. So, Ahmed, what were you doing with image search? I think is your topic.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's I'm pretty sure it's something to do with my image, like the image search, like monitor color thing, because I tried it with so many different apps, and I tried it with script, and I tried it with Macro Creator, and it just doesn't work. But I'll just show you what I'm talking about. I have like a really simple example, but obviously it's really awesome, and you can like, I've done some cool stuff with it, but on this new computer, I can't get it to work. All I'm doing is just like, for example, say I'm searching for this green button.
Yep.
And trying to just search within this area and then have it click. I wrote this script in normal in Sight, and then I also tried using this, and I get the same result either way. Maybe you can see if there's any weird thing I'm doing here, but yeah, I'm pretty. You guys are familiar with this, right? Or do you want me to use a Sight?
No, it doesn't matter. Yeah, we don't care.
So, it's starting to search, from here. I can have it search across the whole area, but I make that the search area, and it's green. It's looking for this green button, which is this image file, and it outputs found X and found Y. And when I search, and then after, if it finds it, then have it click that area. But when I try running it, it doesn't work. It just loops over and over because I have it set to infinite loop.
Yeah, have you seen the find text function?
Find text.
It's not a built-in, like it's not an auto. It's a function someone wrote. I don't use image search. I switched over to using the find text. It's really a misnomer because it's not actually finding text. But yeah, and that's, I think, a tutorial, or yeah. I have a tutorial on my site that walks through how to use it. The really nice thing about it is it doesn't have to save the file that you're looking for anywhere on your computer. So it's really handy. It takes a little getting used to. But what I was going to say is I'm just not knowledgeable of the exact syntax on using. I've used it before, but it's been a few years. But I know Jackie's, if he's still on and can actually unmute and talk, maybe he can look at your code. I would say, and if you want some other time, I'll walk you through using it, or you can just check out the video where I demonstrate it. It's pretty awesome. It's so quick and easy to use.
Oh yeah, it sounds like it'd be a lot more efficient if you have something that you're looking for just cert. I mean, that's textual. But,
well, it's that's the thing, is it's actually, it is looking for an image. It just sounds like it's looking for text, but it converts the image into, I forget, it's like zeros and pipes, so it doesn't have to save the file, and it's really helpful. Yeah, so that find and click image, send text to it. Yeah, so this is my tutorial on using it, and then I built in some extra stuff to automatically like click it or send text to it. And it's I find it more reliable and easier to get it to work properly. But
oh really?
yeah, I do, right? But other people use this image search just fine. So
Okay, definitely. I'm looking for alternatives. So, because I've tried this so much.
I see Jackie unmuted himself. Jackie, and can you pull back up your code so he can take a closer look, maybe?
Okay.
Jackie, were you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, I forgot. You're looking on your phone, so it's probably really hard, huh?
Yeah, I of course I can see stuff on screen, but it's not really that easy.
Hey, Ahmed,
So,
how about you copy the stuff on the right, and then if you have sight, open it and paste it, and then zoom in. And that'll make it easier for him to see what's going on.
Okay, I already have some.
Oh, okay, great. Does that help, Jackie?
yeah, some.
It's using Discord mode.
Okay. Yeah, not because I'm sure it's not always that easy to simply debug code, but to me the brackets, no, not the brackets, the quotes around the.
Oh, the path?
Yeah, that I'm not sure that's supported.
Right.
I think it's the same thing. Oh, they don't have a quote here.
Yeah.
But they don't work either on the other, on the macro creator.
So I just noticed in the other, you have an A drive? Is it just a remapped drive?
Yeah, it's just a remap.
Cool. Yeah, I have a B drive, so I hear you.
Day drive, that's the old floppy disk drive.
No.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I run into so much issues because Windows thinks it's a floppy drive. So like on system boot up, it's not able to do certain things with it.
But to me, just looking at the code, yeah, of course the quotes, but other than that, I don't really see anything that stands out. If the image is within those coordinates, should be found. Of course, you don't have any kind of variation allowed, so it needs to be a perfect match.
Yeah.
No. And for most drivers and different types of rendering, a small allowance of variation can help quite a bit.
What if I do like a JPEG with like 100%, you know? Like, if I do like just this much, but I use like 100% quality.
Yeah, the quality, that's of course one thing, to make sure that it is a perfect replication of what you've taken from the screen. Try and do that first. And
I didn't try all these other options here.
No, that you could simply use the red, green, blue, I think. But maybe putting in that small allowance of variation within the code. That's a star, and then just a number between 0 and 255.
Okay. What's this?
It's star n variation. It's in the middle of the screen right now. Just below the icon, star n. You have it there in the middle.
So where do I put that in?
You do that just before the file name or the file path.
Okay.
That's how I do it, at least. I don't think it needs to be in a specific order. Not the n. The n is not needed. The n is a number.
Okay. So by default, it's at.
I don't think it has a default. It's simply 0. So if you wanted to be allowed to variate the red, blue, and green a little bit, you'd put maybe a 5 or a 20 or something like that, depending on your need.
Cool. This seems like it could also be like transparent, but
yeah, that's another parameter you could use if you had parts of the screen or parts of the image that you knew had a big chance of being a different color or being irrelevant or being changed. You could simply put in a black color and then say that that color was transparent. Then the script would ignore it if it wasn't that exact color. One of the things that makes me use image search over, let's say, find text is that it's better documented. Whereas find text, which is a great function that someone made, has a good functionality. It uses, I think it uses some kind of GDPR or something like that in the background. Not that that's important, but how you work with it and what you actually get when you change values, that's not very well documented. I know Joe, he made some work on it. But
well, let me share my desktop real quick and show you how it works, because it's real quick. And
you can't stop sharing.
yeah, I started. I can, being the host, I can take over. So can you guys see the Imager page?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to launch the find text. It's weird because there's a GUI that helps you write the find text function, kind of like what you had. So it comes up. I'm going to say capture. What am I looking for? Like you said, oh, I'm going to look for this. And you have to move the mouse away. Then it comes up. Oh, and then I can choose either color or grayscale. I'm giving you the really fast version, right? So that video I have walks through it more and more. And then let's say I want to narrow it down. I want to trim it up a bit, right, to what I'm going to click. It doesn't really matter for our purposes. And this is going to remind me, click new. This is my documentation. When I hit OK, it's going to come in here. And now notice when I click here, this is what it's looking for. That's what it converted it to, right? I can hit test, and it's going to say, oh, okay, it found it. It took it over half a second to find it. Here's a pusher. When I hit OK, it's going to move the mouse there. So bam, it moves the mouse there, right? I added, which I think I put it online, another thing that I can say specify area. Where do I want it to look? If this thing is normally in a certain spot, I can say look in this area. And now on my clipboard, see that? That's what I would dump in here for the, oh, sorry, all the coordinates. So I can narrow down, so it'll be a lot faster. So now it's going to look in those. So when I hit test again, notice it took like no time. Right, and again, if your thing's moving around, you don't want to do this. But I have 3 large screens, so I didn't want to worry about that. Right, and then it moved it. Okay, it found it great. Then all I would do is to take this, actually these 2 lines, this and this line, and in AutoHotkey, I'm going to put in, and I had tested this while you guys were chatting, but I'll paste what I just had, and this is a function I sorry. Let me paste that down there. So it's these two is what I copied from that other one, right? So now I have these 3 lines. This is what it's looking for, stores it in text. Text is here as part of the find text function that's built into that script. It says if this is okay, if it finds it, then execute the next one. I made this function to say, hey, if this is okay, connect to this okay object, because that's actually an object that gets returned, and then basically click it. I have built-in offsets so that I can move it. I forget if positive and negative, which way they go, but it allows you to move it to the left or right, and also if you want to move the mouse back to where it was. But so now when I run the script and we come back to here and I hit it, it goes there and clicks it for me. Right? So to me, it's and then if you wanted to keep that thing running all the time, you would simply put this line in a loop, waiting until it exists, and then once it did, then you would do whatever action. But notice again, I don't have to save that file anywhere, right? It's not on my computer. It's not. I love the fact that I don't have to save that. It's just things that are just a lot easier. But to Jackie's point, it's that some of the settings in the tool, this tool, let's go back. Let me just grab an area. Oops, wrong one. Wrong one again. Here we go. I got all confused. So if I was going to click that, these settings with the color and gray 2 and exactly what they do aren't documented clearly. I guess there's someone at my front door. But yeah, I'd say give it a try. But if you like the other one, use it. I happen to love it because I can do stuff so fast with this function. And now Jackie, he does much more advanced stuff and needs the nitty gritty to work through things. For me, I can do simple stuff in a minute, and it's part of my script, and it works for that purpose, and I'm done. Right. So, yeah.
The two things that find text does is it has the GUI. The GUI makes it super easy for you to build something that fits exactly you. And then it converts the image data into, I'm not sure exactly which conversion it's making, but it's simply converting the image data into text and then storing that in the script. And you could do that with any kind of image to text converter, as long as you were able to decrypt it.
Yeah.
Here you have it all built into this find text function. So yeah, image search is built into AutoHotkey. Find text is kind of like a function that uses image search. Instead of using AutoHotkey's built-in image search, he has machine coded it in another language and made that work within AutoHotkey. So it's essentially doing the exact same thing as image search. It just has functions that are easily accessible to you, like this one where you could capture. You could do the same if you wanted to with image search and build the same functionality around it. But here, someone else has just done it. So it really depends if you want to learn image search, because that's the built-in thing in AutoHotkey, or if you want to use this guy's find text, do that. Because as Joe says, it's a quick way of finding something on screen, and you have this okay GUI to work with that makes it easy to define specific things. So what I used this one for, because when Joe showed it to me and I started using it, it was totally for not needing to have image resources outside of the script.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped using it because I needed to be able to tweak more exactly what it did, and the function, and because everything is in machine code, I couldn't see or find that out, even though I tried asking the person who made it. His English wasn't at a level where we could really get that
clarification.
Kind of yeah. But to the point of image search, it should be able to find anything on your screen. If it doesn't find something you've just copied off your screen, it's a tweak that needs to be done.
Okay.
If it's a setting in the script, or if it's a setting with image search, I'm not sure exactly which of those it is.
And I know, at least with some of the stuff Jackie was doing, it's much more particular. I've had incredibly good luck with using the find text to find what I'm looking for on the screen. Right, I didn't have any issues with dealing with sensitive, which I get what Jackie's saying is sometimes you need that, right? And but I haven't run into that because my needs are different, and so it works great for me, and so it's so fast. I just stick with it.
Yeah, but here, let's say you need to distribute this to one of your colleagues or someone else somewhere. Here, you can compile a script, and the script code would have the image data. You wouldn't need to use a file install or have the file sent over, or because it's just there. It's in plain text. It's
yeah,
easy.
but that's still again, anything when you're working across computers, with the resolution differences and things, man, God help you. Which I know that you're doing.
Yeah, and that's the thing here also with find text, right? That's one of the things that I have a hard part with, is that I cannot know exactly which number to tweak to make sure that the variation I need is there. And what was it he called them? To gray, or what is it?
Yeah, color and gray. Yeah.
Yeah, color and gray. What does that actually?
Yeah, because it still turns them into a binary. I mean, that's why I'm like, okay, I don't understand that. It doesn't matter which one. I've tried both, and like neither one of them really seems to make a difference. The only thing I did notice was when I, like on my homepage, I have a link to B of A icon. Was it B, or like let's say Fidelity, right? Which is inverse, and maybe I don't know, but maybe when it's something like that, it does a better job with the color over the grayscale. I don't know. I didn't test it, but
like you can go to the guy's actual post about find text, and he has tried to explain some of it, and people have asked and asked and asked, and he has tried to explain it multiple times. So you might be able to get the information you exactly need. But if you take an image like this and say select color, if you click and select color instead of gray to 2, which is a weird wording, but I believe that what he is saying is if you use a gray threshold, it will convert that to a true color image, and the same with the select color. And with the color similarity, you're probably allowing it to have some kind of fuzzy conversion. Might that be it? Some kind of, because if you look there, the push now compared to if you had not changed the color similarity, and if you haven't selected a color, it would probably look different.
So
if you
that way or no? Oh, change. I'm sorry. So changing the, this.
Yeah.
And then to hit color again.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You see.
Yeah.
So the color similarity has quite an impact on what it converts it to. So again, you could probably fiddle with it quite a lot until you found something that made sense to you. But it would have been nice if it had been documented a little better.
Sure.
Just because, hey, if you do as you do, Joe, take the image, convert it, use it. You don't need it to work on multiple systems as much as I do.
Right.
So if it's something that you're doing for yourself, just taking it, using it as it is, default settings, it is a great tool. I've said that all along, I believe.
Yeah. So anyway, like that's why I said too was this is what I use. There's no right and wrong to it, right? It's this works great for me, so I stick with it.
I saw someone at one point, he made a GUI for doing image searches. And I also think that pullover in his macro creator had some kind of...
Ahmed showed that's what he was using at the beginning was...
Yeah.
And I was going to mention that. I didn't know he had that built in there, which for noobs, I think it's great overall to have that built in there because a lot of people just want to click something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think that helped?
Yeah, I definitely got to play with those options. I think it might be the color variations, but definitely gave me a lot to try out.
Can you show your script again, just for me to see? Can you share?
Okay. I put in the variation of 14 here. I was just going to try this out. But he does pullover did a really good
you have a color, you have a chord mode pixel window. And the reason you have that is... do you know why I have that?
Yeah,
just because you put it in there?
Because this is a window, and the chord mode has to be the window, actually. I could change the screen, and but then I'd have to reselect it. Try it. And this is my third monitor, so it's just a reference point. But let me see if the variation.
It's just because you have image search and you tell it that you need it to do a search within a specific window. The problem is, what window is it looking at? You don't have any code that is making a specific window active or anything like that. So doing screen would make more sense in this case.
Yeah, I did screen before, and as soon as with the macro creator, as soon as you click play, it just uses the active window. This and then I put in a little 2-second delay here so I can click the window. I just didn't bother to activate the image search window, but definitely it's looking at that window, and if I try pixel screen, it doesn't matter. Apparently this variation doesn't help either. What if I put just to test it out, like a really high variation? What the heck? It still does not work.
A variation that high almost can't fail. That's if you put 255 there, it would be able to find any pixel of any color in any image.
Yeah, that's something else is wrong then.
Yeah.
Maximum. Yeah, it's still not working.
So just as a definition, there something else is not really working.
Actually, I think it is working because I said if not found, then create a prompt, and it's not doing that. But then it's not doing this click either.
Do you have to relaunch it or anything? Is it always running?
I just stop and then I click play again.
Okay. Right.
Could you, instead of having it click, could you put in a message box if it found it?
Yeah.
Because at the moment you have error level 0, and when it's 0, nothing happens.
I just have it play sound or
prompt. Yeah.
Yeah. This one I'll do something else. Just continue. Okay, so image pixel found at there. Yeah, so I think it is the variation. Let's reduce this to it.
Yeah, go with a 10. That's a good number.
Cool, it worked. 3, 3, 1, 2, 3. Just make sure that's the right area. Right. Yeah, that is it. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, cool. That was it then.
So one of the issues you probably had, without me remembering correctly, was you had told it to use pixel window. So the image search looked at the active window and found pixels in the active window, but you hadn't told it to click within the active window for the click coordinates. So the click coordinates were using absolute coordinates on your 3 monitors. So when it found the pixels in the image search, it will pass back whatever those were within the active window. But the click command you had would click that absolute point on your 3 monitors. So it might have found the image and it would have sent the click, but the click would be way off because one was coordinates in the active window and the other was
Any window or however you want to.
it was in the global space.
Yeah.
No,
And
that's I think it's set up right here though. There's no click thing.
No, yeah, but the chord mode you have there, pixel screen, pixel, that parameter is only for things that has to do with pixels, and clicks doesn't have to do with pixels. So if you go into the documentation and read up on chord mode, you would also need to set the mouse move, the mouse coordinates, because those are the ones that click uses. This is a small thing you probably need to know just to have had a chance of actually fixing this.
Okay, yeah, I forgot what it defaults to. But it defaults to window, I think. But definitely, I think you guys got it. It was the variation thing. That was it. Because it's saving at like 95% by default.
But can you jump over to site real quick?
Yeah.
And then hit F1. And then in there, go to the search. And what was it? Mouse chord? Is that what it was?
Chord mode. Chord mode. Just take that one. And you have the target type. You have the target type pixel where that affects pixel get color, image search, and pixel search. Whereas chord mode mouse affects mouse get pose, the click command, mouse move, clicks, and so on.
Does that make
so
sense?
Because unless
23 and 24 has both set to window.
Yeah, again, I'm just saying that I saw what you were running over in
the macro creator. Yeah.
Yeah. And there it wasn't showing it as having set.
Yeah, that's weird. I like using Macro Creator a lot because I can just make quick little things without even having to open it.
Yeah, of course. But with the stuff that you're showing currently on screen, that chord mode for the mouse isn't there. So to me, it probably isn't there when the script is ran.
Oh, yeah, I wonder what it default. I didn't see anything here in the settings for what it would be normally. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Mouse coordinates is set to screen by default.
So one is screen and the other is window. And now we have changed the coordinate mode for pixel to screen. So now the click is actually sent to the correct coordinates. And that's why you're seeing it as working now.
Okay, I didn't see the click to work. Let me test that. This would be if found, continue. man, it's not. I wonder if it's something else. It's not even moving. It might be just admin, but I ran it as admin.
Hmm.
This is outside of that. Oh, that's why. It's supposed to be inside of the.
It shouldn't matter. The click code should still run, even though it was below the if.
No, it wouldn't because these brackets skipped it out.
Yeah, it should still have ran it.
Still no menu. This is. This is probably just a little syntax issue or something. I'll definitely try this in AutoHotkey script.
The code you see here on the right, what's that? Is that just...
Is that a reflection of what's on the left?
Yeah, so this is why I really like it because you can just like click.
It's like the Excel macro thing I just walked through, right? That you can.
Yeah. I'm okay that that's a reflection on what you have on the left, but to me it's still not showing. As you said yourself, you have some default settings for when you run it, but those we are apparently not seeing on the right.
Yeah. Each time you've done that, I've seen your mouse move up like 2 inches. Is that you?
No, that's just me trying to like.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Yeah.
Instead of using the click, could you use the mouse move?
Yeah, that's a great idea, Jackie. Much easier to tell what in the world's going
Yeah.
on.
Okay. Yeah. I think click is the wrong one. Actually, it's supposed to be control click, right? There's
not necessarily. For testing, it's probably fine to have it as click, but try and make it mouse move instead of click. Just use move. Don't use click yet.
Oh, it gives the same thing.
It's still using click because you try and go into it. It just has the 0 there at the end telling it not to click. So it's still using the click function to move them. That doesn't really, that shouldn't matter because if the found X and Y are correct.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you guys' help on this. I'll probably get this. I want to hear what
To me, you ran that, but it didn't actually move the mouse anywhere.
Right.
I think it might. There's some weird things with pullovers thing with click. I don't know why, because there's a few different click ones here. I use control click here, and I used the other click.
This is why, to me, troubleshooting, I do that in AutoHotkey. It's just easier to know exactly what's going on. I'm fine using, a macro creator thing to help you get the gist of it, but then really troubleshooting it, because then you can throw in a message box and say, did I get inside this, these brackets where I'm moving? Was it found? Yeah, okay. Then you can step through it much easier, I think.
Yeah, I could just paste in what I just did here. Here I can actually use control click.
Or just move, as Jackie was saying, just to make sure the darn mouse, because we can't see the click, right? But we can see it moving.
Oh, is move actually something you can use?
Mouse move.
Mouse move, yeah.
The last 0 there, wait, yeah.
And do me a favor, throw a message box inside that right after that, just saying here. This lets us know we actually got inside this. Yeah.
This is okay. I forgot what that was. It was plus key. Oh, okay. Yeah, it was something to do with macro create.
Yeah, or it's actually moving it to the correct spot, but is that spot far enough into the button to actually click it? Try and run the script once more, and then just perform a click on your mouse after it moves it.
Yeah, it clicks.
Yeah, it is. So something with the other thing is keeping it from actually clicking it.
Yeah, that's weird. I've done clicking things before. I'm not sure what is wrong with this one, but yeah, no. I think all the different GUI IDE things have issues with it.
I'd say you copy pasted the code from macro creator over into site, and you ran it from there. You didn't actually do anything to it, and it moved the mouse to the correct place. So I definitely say that yes, something with the macro creator is preventing it from actually working.
Yeah, I remember so yeah, there's definitely a bug with that. What I had to do is to work around it, I had to actually record, and then record a click. And then I had to copy paste that. I would just click this and then click. And then this new macro, this, I would just copy paste this thing here. It looks the same code-wise.
Yeah, not exactly, does it? There's an extra comma in there.
Mm.
And an up and a down, right?
Man, good catch, Jackie.
Could try that out. I think it changed as soon as I hit that. Or yeah, remove the comma.
That's wild. Again, this is why I prefer not to actually write, work on the code in something like this.
Yeah, so I guess this won't work.
So now it also removed the other comma.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So as soon as you actually try and put in those two commas yourself on the left there, and don't use the right, or yeah, the other way around.
Yeah.
Put the comma in there. After the left, you have found Y left. Put in an extra comma there on the right part of your screen, as you can see them here.
It doesn't let you. Oh my God! It crashed.
You can't. Oh. That's the way.
Yeah, this guy hasn't updated to the app in a while. I messaged him and he's like, "It's working. Look at the guide."
Yeah, that's an easy thing to say, of course.
Yeah, I usually just build it and then when it's working, I copy it to actual script and then do like any other things I might need.
That was one of the first ways how I started out, was using, I think it was that actual tool a long time ago. I noticed all the extra stuff it adds. Right. Actually, that's a lot cleaner than I've seen it before. So you must have done some work cleaning up, what gets tracked.
Yeah, he did a good job. But I remember actually using the built-in script writer 2.0 or whatever they call it, which was within the AutoHotkey install originally. But all it did was track your mouse clicks, and then it put 10 milliseconds of sleep between 100 milliseconds of sleep between each action, and that was all it did.
And about 80 when it activates.
Yeah, exactly.
If not active, when active.
Yeah,
But that wasn't actually.
I've avoided hours of work just with like a 2-minute thing from Macro Creator.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like you
I'd
said,
say.
yeah, we're not knocking it, right? Especially if you're just not used to programming in it, but it's a good place to start.
Yeah, he has made a great tool, but yeah, I don't think that he is really actively developing it anymore. It worked, and then stuff slowly stops working, perhaps, and he doesn't fix the bugs anymore. He's probably on to other stuff. That's just my guess. It happens.
Cool. Well, are we?
Can I have a quick suggestion? Like, do we have a session about the different IDEs we can use for AutoHotkey?
Yeah, we've had one on site, and then we did one on Studio, AutoHotkey Studio.
Okay.
I don't know Notepad well enough to have a webinar on it. I put it. I believe it's as good as Site is, but you know.
Yeah, and you can use a few others as well, and of course, Notepad is for the win. No, but that's how I started. Plain Notepad built into Windows. Everybody has it.
Studio offers one of the biggest advantage to me is regardless of whether you're in a the hell is it called, a command or a function, it will stick with the highlighting of the parameters of where you are in both of those, and it really helps you understand. Like when Jackie pointed out the extra comma in between those two things, it would be popping up and showing you where you are, and it really helps you understand. Like, oh wow, I'm in the wrong parameter for this function or a command. That's one of the.
When I used the Site back in the day, and I still do, I use Site in one place and Studio in another. And the thing with having to go back each time I'm using a function or a command and typing the first comma, the first opening,
right,
just to see the parameter list.
Right.
That's much easier in Studio because it keeps track of which parameter you're currently working within. So yeah, it's a great way to keep track of your commas.
Yeah, sure. I recently made about 30 videos on documenting on Studio. So there's lots of mini tutorials so you can go through and try things. Site, I like Jackie. I use Site for years. I still use it for other things, not AutoHotkey. But yeah, it's a great editor as well.
I've been thinking of switching to the Visual Studio Code. They have a extension here. Apparently 56,000 people have it so far.
I think a lot of people are actually writing within that. So why not? I know that I see both Hotkeyit and Lecticos use that to write. Those are the only two I've seen, but that's not the same as other people not doing it.
Yeah, and for me, which is one of the reasons why I still use Site a lot, is Studio is really built for just AutoHotkey. But something like you're looking at there, right? If you're programming other languages, then it's great to have something that handles multiple languages.
Yeah, that was one of the things you mentioned about Site at least a few
I have about 80 IntelliSense, things I can use, and I used it for Python. It was really great.
Yeah.
Cool. Was there anything else? I have a meeting I didn't know I had to go to that I have to go to here in a bit.
Yeah, and it's quite late here. So.
Yeah. Thank you, though, Ahmed. That was good. Thanks, everyone else, for being on the webinar. Hope it was helpful and instructive. And for you, not Joe Glines.
Yeah. I don't know why it locked me in as Joe Glines. I have absolutely no idea how that worked. Where did it get that from?
I don't know.
No.
Awesome, everyone. I'll Jean put a link to the file. I saw it was a zip file. I didn't look at it. I guess I'm gonna guess it has his deck as well as the scripts. But I'll also email them out to everybody, so you'll get a copy of that and a link to the recordings once they're done. Not compressing, whatever it's called, being processed by Zoom. Probably tomorrow. right, everyone. Thank you. It's good talk. Jackie, I'm going to have to run, so I normally we catch up after this. I know it's late for you anyway, so I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, that's great.
Cool. Cheers. Bye.
Yeah, bye.